Alright, you read the title. So, back in Secret Mimic, we saw the origins of all the characters across series, or at least most of them. And among the most interesting one is like Chica, because it had the whole Chica's Party World stuff that was going on, which is crazy to me that they even remembered that. But then later on the Ultimate Guide 2.0 came out, and it goes like Chica's Secret Party, which is really weird. Anyone who watches my channel will know all about that, because I literally made a playable version of it. And then later on, SteelWool posted this, which a lot of people connected to Chica, because of like, there's a water area, and Chica's showing like Security Breach as Chica of the Sea, as reference to Tuna of the Sea, or Chicken of the Sea being the description for Tuna. And yeah, there's chickens here, so a lot of people made the connection of like Chica in the Sea and chickens. And then today, they posted this. How quickly can you guess the character? Like mobile layout. And it's Chica. It's the role of Chica in Secret of the Mimic. Yeah. Sorry for spoiling the surprise. So this was not a big deal of a tweet, and normally wouldn't talk about this, and I was fully expecting to not want to talk about this. But when you have so much Chica imagery already, and Chica imagery has been such a big discussion point in the community up to this point, and then they literally dropped the version of Chica that started all the Chica imagery, like they could have picked anyone else. I think the only other character that would have sparked interesting like discussion would have been Monty, because this last image kind of gave us Monty vibes. Like Chica and Monty are literally the only two characters that could have been like really interesting. Would have been like a hey, why would you post this character? Out of everyone, do you have any idea how many random masked mascots there are in Secret of the Mimic? There are so many random masked mascots in Secret of the Mimic. So like, this is for it to be Chica specifically. Like, come on. That feels like it's playing directly off what we're talking about. So now we've got to talk a little bit about that. Now, admittedly, there's not a whole lot to this specifically, but I want to use this as an opportunity to talk about something a little bit more of a tangent. Like, what is this Chica imagery going to amount to? But to do that, I have to take a little bit of a tangent on the next game. So it's kind of agreed upon that these teasers or these images are like teasers for the next game. Probably not from the next game. There's no Scott Cawthon copyright, so if they are teasers, they're very, very vague teasers, like I guess the sketch and Where's Helpy ended up being. Or these just are literally completely nothing. Either way, they're either completely nothing or barely anything. But if they do relate, they're for the next game. So the next mainline game, what I'm just going to call it Five Nights at Freddy's 12 for simplicity, is most likely going to be the continuation of Cassie's story. The big reason why being a future so bright, being mentioned in this previous image. Someone in my comment section last time said there's a song that has this as a lyric or something like that. It takes place in like 1986 or something like that, or released in 1986 or something like that. Don't quite remember what they said, but honestly, I really doubt there's going to be another prequel game, just because of where the story is set up. But anyway, the point is, the next game, I've been theorizing for a while, ignoring all of this, that the next game could be the remains of Sex Babies. Like, I believe Murray's costume and his basement got repurposed into Sex Babies Entertainment Rental later on in the timeline, and I believe that that Sex Babies Entertainment Rentals has been repurposed for something else again in the modern timeline, and that'll be the next game location. I've always wanted to revisit that rental facility ever since Help Wanted, because Help Wanted casually confirmed, well, in the vent repair ended level you go to sub-basement G, which means the place is about 7 basements deep. So it's massive, it's about comparable to the Pizzaplex. So ever since then, I've really wanted a SteelWool game set in that location, and I've always wanted a modern day Sex Babies in general, because I just want to see Ballora and Baby come back, like new versions of the characters. Like obviously we had Scrap Baby, but that's not a new version of the character, it's just the same character, just in a different state. And outside of spin-offs, we never got really anything new for Ballora, it's just always been regularized Ballora. So, I've really been wanting to see more of them, so I've been really hoping for a modern day Circus Babies. But to be completely honest, I don't actually know if I really want that, because if the next game is going to be just more sister locations, more Circus Babies Entertainment Rentals, then I feel like the atmosphere would be made as a homage to the original sister location. Like the atmosphere would be pretty similar, and I don't really want that because I feel like SteelWool and Scott Cawthon's skill sets are very, very different, and that really shines through their environments. I don't think SteelWool will do a fantastic job at recreating Scott's environments. They're really good at environments, but I feel like they shine the best in completely new environments. And I just don't really want the next game location to feel like a pale imitation of sister location. I'd much prefer if it stood on its own. So I've been theorizing and hoping that even if the next game takes place in Murray's/Babies, that it's been refurbished into something completely different again, and it's only those locations due to lore. It's like most main game locations are completely new locations, even if they are connected to older locations. I think the next game will be the same way. I think it will be connected to Babies, probably the Babies facility in general, but it's completely new now, it's been redecorated, it's got new characters, it's got this rethemed, refurbished in general, and so it stands completely on its own. That's what I want the next game location to be. Now, if it's not Babies anymore, and it's something else, I've just been rolling with, we don't know what it is. But there's a chance, this has crossed my mind quite a few times, that it could be a modern-day Chica's Party World, could be the what it's been turned into, which is how this all ties back to the Chica imagery as of recent. Like, it would make a lot of sense for so much Chica imagery if the next game was a Chica's Party World game. So this would be like, we've got 3 eras of Chica's Party World. Then we've got like the 70s one from like Secret Mimic. We've got whenever Sis location takes place, is one around that time. And there'll be one in the modern time now as well. That's what I think has a chance of happening. I mean, it could still be something completely new, but without assuming it's something completely new, I feel like Chica's Party World would be a very great option because you've never seen a Chica's Party World, so they could definitely do something very new with that. Now, I guess it's not as interesting to just say, oh, it could be Chica's Party World. What's the implications of that then? Well, one, as I said, different atmosphere, but also I want to talk about the animatronics real quick as well. I actually don't want to re-record this, spend too much time recording or anything, so I hope I get this all in one take because I've got things to do after this. But so the animatronics in Chica's Party World, we've only ever seen Chica and her little mascots, like the cupcakes and like the Miss Shake and the burger, whatever in Secret Mimic. But in Pizzeria Simulator, we do see the one that was used at the Sex Babies time period, the time period assist location. And in that, we see the Funtime Chica and also Music Man. Well, because Music Man and Funtime Chica both kind of look like Funtimes, we just don't see in this location. So I feel like the implication is they're both from Chica's Party World. So if Music Man is a Chica's Party World character, then I think there's a very good chance that the next modern game will bring back Music Man as well, in addition to Chica. Like, obviously there'd be a new version of Chica, and I think there could be a new version of Music Man as well. I know a lot of people are getting kind of burnt out in the amount of Music Man stuff that's happening recently. Fair, I understand, and I'd even agree, to be honest. They've done quite a bit of it back-to-back, but I do think if they're doing Chica's Party World, it makes the most sense considering Music Man seemingly was introduced with that. So I think this next game would make a lot of sense to have Music Man if it was correct, and if it is correct that it would be taking place at Chica's Party World. Though that itself is said, all speculation, just kind of talk about like the implications of this. I will have to see what other animatronics I throw into the ring. So I've considered the idea of like Renard coming back. I know it's a very, very weird, obscure pick, but like Roxy replaced Foxy in Security Breach, and then Secret Mimic introduced a pirate crew and showed that Roxy was part of the pirate crew, as well as a whole other cast of characters from the pirate crew. And I thought it would be really, really neat if these next few games had different stand-ins for Foxy as different characters from the pirate crew. So the new stand-in for Foxy at Chica's Party World could be Renard. If you guys don't remember who Renard is, that's the chef from the pirate crew. So the reason why I'm picking him specifically as a standout is because Chica's whole thing is like eating and sometimes partying. So, because eating is something that Chica is very, very commonly associated with, so it's very, very often emphasized, then I think the chef character being the version of Foxy that comes back would make a lot of thematic sense. Outside of that, I hope we see more Secret mascots in general. Like, regardless of whether the Chica's Party World stuff is true or not, I do hope we see some new versions of Secret Mimic characters come back in the next games. The modern games are actually really, really good at bringing back a bunch of old characters and doing something new with them. So, and that includes like Secret Mimic, Security Rage, they're really good at that. So I'm really excited to see, now Secret Mimic has introduced so many more characters, which ones end up coming into these next games. I hope a lot of them do. And again, I really hope Ballora and Baby come back as well. I really like Ballora. Ballora is so underrated, dude. I'd love to see a new version of Ballora. Special Delivery really highlighted to me what's cool about Ballora. Because in Special Delivery, like, different versions of Ballora have, like, different music and, like, differently themed mini arenas. And I feel like it's just such a cool take on variety, I guess. I feel like there's some stuff you can do with Ballora that could be really, really interesting. Like a Music Man in that sense. You have different music to give different Music Men their different vibe. And you kind of do that with Ballora as well, except Ballora is very, very different, considering she's like an animatronic, like, humanoid character, rather than a spider. So she'd have like a completely different vibe, completely different feel. You could do completely different music-based things, different atmospheres for Ballora than you could with Music Man. But that being said, though, I don't know if there's much of a reason for them both to coexist in one game, so they're both kind of music-based. And as I said before, if we already have Music Man associated with Chica's Party World, then it makes most sense for it to be It makes most sense for it to be Music Man rather than Ballora. But I just kind of want to cope and just vent how much I want to see Ballora in these games. I want to see her back, man. Like, the Slugs Babies cast kind of like the only ones that haven't really super reappeared a lot. So I hope at some point we get more of that. But maybe it's not going to be this next game. But I hope at some point it happens. Now, there could be more tangents I could go on about what I want to see in the next Five Nights at Freddy's game, but none of it feels, in my opinion, relevant to the Chica imagery. I guess their big one, just to have one other big highlight outside of the location stuff that does associate with Chica, is I kind of would love to see, I think we really should see the return of survival gameplay. Something that really bothers me, I've said it many, many times before, and I want to say it many, many times again, is that the stealth gameplay, as much as I like the stealth gameplay, I do wish that survival gameplay came back as well. I want both to coexist in one game. I think ideally, survival gameplay style from the earlier games should be recurring minigames in the modern games. And I don't mean like, I don't want to see just references. Like, not just a one-off or two-off, couple of references, just previous games. Like, Security Breach, just having a few ones that reference FNaF 1, that doesn't satisfy me. I want something that's more recurring, feels more like a main gameplay gimmick, and something that feels actually new, a new survival sequence. I believe once they do it, they'll do a really good job, because SteelWool have made a new survival experience like one other time before, in Curse of Dreadbear's Danger to Keep Out. And if you guys haven't played Danger to Keep Out, it's really fun. Like, it's a really good survival gameplay sequence. So, like, once SteelWool do start making new survival sequences and putting it in their games, I have good confidence that they'll be able to cook really well with some really fun gameplay. It's just they need to actually do it, man. They need to actually do it. It really disappoints me that Secret Mimic didn't have anything like that. Like, Secret Mimic didn't even have a reference. Didn't even have just one thrown in there just to go like, oh guys, look, it's FNaF gameplay. Didn't even do that. But obviously I want more than that. I want, as I said, I want it to be part of the main gameplay, and I want it to be new survival gameplay. And I'd also would probably like the stealth gameplay to be a bit better as well, because it's not fantastic right now. It's kind of bare bones what we've seen with the stealth gameplay so far. But yeah, ultimately, I think that's my biggest gripe. The one thing I really want SteelWool to do with the next game is to bring back the survival gameplay as a main part of the game and actually flesh it out and actually do well with it. Because I don't want them to go all the way back to the survival. I think the stealth gameplay is fine. It's just they need to do it in addition to the survival gameplay, not instead of. And yeah, I guess that's all the commentary I want to give today. Anything more than that would be too much of a tangent that I probably shouldn't go on in this video. But yeah, there's a lot of Chica imagery, and sure, it might mean absolutely nothing, but considering we have no news right now, hopefully we'll get news on the anniversary in 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks from now. Hopefully we get some news, and until then, I will be covering every random ass thing SteelWool posts if I feel like there's something worth talking about. As I said, I literally was not expecting to want to talk about this in today's video until I saw it was literally like one of the 2 characters that was worth talking about. So funny. But yeah, the only takeaway I could have with the Chica imagery, in my opinion, like this, ignoring this, there's still Chica imagery. Like, there's still Chica's secret party that's got to be like addressed, right? Like, that's obviously not nothing. And I feel like the only thing that Chica imagery I can think of, I mean, it could lead to so many different things. It could even lead to just a minor thing. But in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense if we're building up to a Chica's Party World game. It could make a lot of sense to me if Sex Babies got refurbished in modern day to be Chica's Party World, and we can start getting to see more Chica's Party World characters. And maybe in the Chica's Party World game, we start getting even more lore on the cis location time period of Chica's Party World. We didn't get much information on that. Yeah, those are the thoughts. I've already said all my thoughts. I just kind of want to give a quick little conclusion there, just to wrap it all back to this at the very, very end. And yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Do you think the Chica imagery is interesting? Like, ignoring this specifically, do you have any ideas about what the Chica imagery could be leading on into? And what do you think of the idea of the next game taking place at Chica's Party World, or at least a new version of Chica's Party World? And what implications do you think that could have on the game? And, you know, just because I love throwing way too many call of actions at you, let me know what you guys think what's the number one thing you want to see from the next game? Because for me, it's survival gameplay. Right, that was way too many call to actions. Now people aren't going to comment at all. They're all overwhelmed. Alright, but yeah, see you next time, and I'll make sure to keep y'all in the loop for anything that I think is worth talking about. Probably nothing until in 2 weeks. Alright, I'll see you then.